32nd ASEAN Summit opening ceremony and summit retreat held in Singapore on Saturday. The opening ceremony of the 32nd ASEAN Summit was held at the Shangri-La Hotel in Singapore. Head of state, heads of government, and representatives of ASEAN countries attending the opening ceremony were welcomed by rotating ASEAN chairman, Singapore Prime Minister Mr. Lee Hsien Loong. U Thao-tung, Union Minister for the Office of the Union Government, arrived at Yangon International Airport after attending the IX International Meeting of high-level officials responsible for security matters, which was held in Sochi, Russian Federation, from 24th to 26th April. During his stay in Moscow, he met with HE Mr. Nikolai Patrushev, Secretary of the Security Council of the Russian Federation, at his office last Friday. During their meeting, the Union Minister and the Secretary of the Security Council of the Russian Federation discussed strengthening cooperation in areas relating to national security matters. The Union Minister briefed the Secretary on the developments in Myanmar, including the situation in Rakhine State. The assistance and suggestions of foreign experts will be obtained for effective and speedy dousing of Taiping garbage dump fire. Yangon Mayor Uma Mongso said that since last Friday, the fire is being doused with 2,000 gallons of biofoam that were brought from Thailand. Initial requirement is 5,000 gallons, and the remaining amount was brought in later on Saturday evening. Experts from Thailand also arrived, and their assistance and suggestions will be obtained to douse the fire. In international news, the 32nd Summit of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations concluded on Saturday, reaffirming the bloc's cooperation and common vision. Singapore's Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, said ASEAN leaders have adopted deliverables which are in line with the priorities this year for ASEAN to strengthen its resilience and innovative capacity. At the press conference after the summit, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong said one deliverable is the ASEAN leaders' vision for a resilient and innovative ASEAN, and the second is the establishment of the ASEAN Smart Cities Network. As Australia struggles with a growing obesity and diabetes epidemic, calls for a tax on sugary drinks grow ever louder. Last month, the United Kingdom became the 28th country to introduce a sugar drinks tax. But public health officials in Australia have said that the beverages industry in Australia has been obstructing and delaying policy outcomes that would lead to better health. Jane Martin, Executive Manager of the Obesity Policy Commission, agrees.
It's not the public aren't on board, the politicians aren't on board. And the reason that a lot of the politicians aren't on board is because of this influence that we're seeing of groups like the Beverages Council, of these alliances in Canberra working against effective recommendations.
In entertainment news, Katy Perry took her darling on a very special date. Just days after confirming to ET that she was spoken for, the 33-year-old singer headed to Rome, where she was booked as a speaker at the Vatican's United to Cure event, an international conference on the cure for cancer. During her trip, Perry got the opportunity to meet Pope Francis, and she took her rumored boyfriend, Orlando Bloom, along with her. MI Radio News, I'm Henry Zinn. Stay with us for more news.